In this video, we'll be looking at measurement in kindergarten, K.7a and K.7b. Students will be using objects to describe the measurable attributes, including length, capacity, and weight. And they'll also be comparing those two objects using that common measurable, or comparing two objects using a common measurable attribute. The students then have to describe which one has more or less of whatever that attribute might be. So we want to make sure that the students are using real objects. So these are just some random things that students could get to discuss and talk about. Get them all in there. Could talk about different measurable attributes. When you're talking about the attributes, you might as well just start having the students compare them. When students are talking about length, we want to talk about how tall something is, how deep something is, how wide something is. For capacity, it's how much an object can fill inside of it, and for weight, it's how heavy or how light. But if we're combining those attributes along with the comparing of those attributes, it's all going to sort of mesh together, and it's going to make more sense for the kids to make that connection that, yes, I can measure length, but what does that mean? This is longer than something, this is shorter than something. We're not doing any actual measuring in kindergarten. There's no use of a ruler. When we're using tools, we're not actually measuring to say this is 1 cup, this is 2 cups. We're just comparing that this one can hold more than this one. With that being said, we can absolutely have the students experience and use some of those measuring tools. So we can have different types of measuring tools for them to fill with. We can use a balance to allow them to explore weight, whether or not something is heavier or lighter than something else. It's kind of hard to tell when things are up on top, but if we had a balance that worked appropriately, then we can see that one block is heavier than the other. But having the students the ability to do some exploration with those tools without actually measuring. You can also use things like Unifix cubes or linking cubes for them to talk about the differences. They can compare the length of these objects and saying that the green is longer than the brown is shorter than the green. There are a few resources that you can use. You can always use children's books, children's literature to help you get the concept across to the students. Here's just a few examples of some that you can use. There's also some resources. If you go to K5 Math Teaching Resources, here's a book that you could put together with the students that they would go through and do some exploring and talking about different attributes of shapes. This one is heavy, and they have other ones available online at the K5 Math Teaching Resources.com. If you have any questions about teaching measurement, let us know.